The cost of everything that we buy is going up at the fastest rate for 30 years. There are two big reasons for this. The first one is the really expensive energy bills that we're all facing for gas and electricity. The second reason is fuel costs, which are eye-watering at the moment every time you try and fill up a tank. That is the baseline of our economy.
To curb the UK's highest inflation in 40 years, the government is seeking a new solution to resolve the crisis that will come. Yet it all fell apart on Friday morning. The US bank released a worrying report to investors on Friday.
Now, this coming Friday, four of the largest US banks report earnings, and that kicks off the earnings season for this latest quarterly report. JP Morgan, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, and Morgan Stanley all come out with numbers on Friday. Markets have been somewhat turbulent, to say the least, in the last 3 months, while banks may have been able to charge more for customers to borrow because of interest rate hikes. Demand for those very products are beginning to bottom out and indeed dry up to some degree.
The pound is losing its confidence against the US dollar. On the same day, UK Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng announced the new mini-budget plan, the largest tax cut in the past 50 years.
Take the additional rate of income tax. At 45%, it is currently higher than the headline top rate in G7 countries like the US and Italy. And it is even higher than social democracies like Norway. But I'm not going to cut the additional rate of tax today, Mr. Speaker.
But before moving on, don't forget to subscribe to Financial Countdown and ring the bell to be notified when new content comes out. Soaring energy prices are threatening the European Union countries and the UK's economic stability. Markets believe that this winter will be the hardest one that the continent has faced in decades because of low supplies and higher living costs. Or, in other words, a recession will occur. In this video, we will review the reasons why the pound is weakening, how this adds fuel to the inflation fire and accelerates the recession. On Friday, the UK Chancellor revealed his country's new plan and direction, which he expects will take the country out of the shrinking danger zone. Investors and economists describe it as a radical and aggressive plan. It includes focusing on the future and growth while cutting taxes at the same time. The tax-cutting plan and mini-budget that the UK government is aiming to implement are the largest tax cuts in the past 50 years. In the early weeks of September, the government also reassigned a previous plan that is expected to tame inflation a bit, which is reducing energy bills. The pound dropped 3.5% hours after the announcement, and since then it has fallen sharply to its lowest level since 1985. 3 weeks ago, the sterling pound was worth $1.17 and is now worth $1.07 in the currency exchange market. Rising energy and goods prices will only make matters worse for the British if the pound continues to fall. In the past 30 days, the pound has fallen by more than 8% against the dollar, indicating that the British pound was already declining before the announcement. By stepping back a bit, marketers found the UK currency was acutely dropping for the past year since the pandemic. And now, what does a weak pound mean for the UK economy and its outlook? In the UK, as elsewhere, Inflation is already high. A weak pound will raise rather than lower prices. Oil, gas, tech devices, and other importers will all be paid by the dollar. A less valuable pound against the dollar means more expensive goods. The country is already on the verge of a recession. The average British consumer cannot keep up with soaring energy bills. A previous survey shows that when winter comes, a large population will choose between reducing their daily expenses to keep up with heating bills. 46% of the UK's foods are considered importers, and a large percentage of them are based on the dollar. So that adds another pressure to higher heating costs.
Produce everything that we buy and to get it to us, to the shelves or to our front doors. So businesses are passing on those costs to us as customers. That means that the food that we buy, from the basics to your lunch, and especially fresh fruit and veg, is getting really expensive at the moment. All those costs are being passed straight to us, but everything is going up. Household goods too, anything that's coming to you in a plastic bottle will be getting more expensive because it's more expensive to make. But it's not just the things that we physically buy. If you're going out to a restaurant, if you're having a night out, if you're booking a holiday, if you're staying in a hotel, if you're getting your hair cut, all of those things will be getting a lot more expensive over the coming months. There is some help available for those most in need, for help with their energy costs, but for the rest of us, we're just going to have to get used to this really high level of inflation because it's set to stay for the coming months right through 2022.
On top of that, recently, one of the US specialists said that the probability of a US recession is higher than 50%, and it could hit 80%. That's in the US, the largest economic power, meaning that the UK's recession probability is much higher, at least 70%. So what is the solution here? There is one solution the government will take and one most don't like. If the pound keeps declining, the British banks will likely go for 100% interest hikes at the next meeting. Higher interest rates mean lower borrowing and higher household costs. As we know, increasing interest rates is a double-edged sword, and unfortunately, the sharpest edge is pointing at the UK economy. Your opinion is very important to us. You can leave it in the comment box below this video. Thanks for watching.